Hey there YouTube, it's been a while since I've done a bike video, just what I've done with my fleet and what I've got, what I haven't got, stuff like that, and styles and genres of bikes that I have. And this one is my On One Parkwood. Always fancied On One Parkwood when they came out. I think it's like 2012 or something like that, and I always remember looking at it and thinking, wow, it's a really nice frame. It's a bit old now, I must admit, but I seen it on eBay for £100. It's a medium frame. Technically I'm a large, but I thought I'd try it anyway, and it's actually worked out quite well. So what have we got on the actual bike? Let's go from front to back. Now these were designed for, I think, about a 120, 130 travel, which was quite big for a 29er back in the day. So we call it the first ultra slack, ultra long, frame, but not really, to be fair. It's just an XC frame. I think it's about a 69 or 60, maybe 67 degree head, somewhere around about there. 67 degree depending on what length of fork you've got and stuff on it. But when I bought this, I never really actually wanted to put a suspension fork on it. I knew that I was going to run it as a sort of like a bike packing bike. And the reason for that is because I knew that it fitted a slightly larger tyre on the back than bikes of that era, and it was also quite a short frame rather than a long frame that you would get on, like, say, Maragli Marley. It's more comfortable to ride as a bike packing bike, and it's easier to manoeuvre and stuff like that, easier to get in and out of trains, easier to get in and out of cabs or other people's cars and stuff like that if I need to at any point. And whereas something I was considering another Ragli frame, Ragli Marley, but it was just that bit too long and too slack. It didn't really have the design that I wanted, so I go in with this one. But £100 was pretty damn decent. So what did I get from it then? So it was just the frame and the headset that came in the eBay deal. Since then I have bought, starting from front wheel. So front wheel is a Mavic Crossmax. I think it's a Crossmax. Is it? I'm not sure. Mavic something. 29er with a Schwalbe Advancer front tyre, which is a 29 by 2.6. Not technically tubeless, but set up tubeless. Works fine. Been working fine for about 6 months now, probably more. The fork is a Surly Krampus fork, with just a set of Timu cages on it. Nothing special, they're just plastic cages. Have a little look down there. Ooh. The gold bolts, they came from Australia, all the way from Australia, for about £5, which was a bit ridiculous, and the weight was like ridiculously long, but it was the cheapest ones at the time, and I didn't really need them. It was just more aesthetics than anything else. So I waited and they came, and they're fine, worked really good. They're actually really long, so they fit really well in the fork, so I can put some spacers behind it, and that means I can then get a nice Velcro strap round behind that and grab when there's, when you've got like a sleeping bag or something, like a tent or something in there, the strap can come round the back of it and pull really tight, which is quite good. I have a front rack. Front rack was not its original design. I had to put a couple of little modifications on it. These things are originally designed to fit on V-brake mounts, which that fork doesn't have. So I had these kicking around from an old rack before, which comes down, fits onto the screws inside of the fork. And then there's a mount up here, of course, where a normal brake would have went on, but now they're just kind of really designed as mounts. So, and that's pretty sturdy. I mean, you can lift the front end of the bike up with that. It's not huge, it's just designed for if I want to put like a long bag. I prefer not to put them on the handlebars because it causes cable and ghost shifting, which I've had a few times when I've had this bike out before I got that. I had a handlebar bag, and it would change the way the gearing would work, and you go out and it'd be up and down, up and down, up and down gears. So I went with this, which then brings it lower, keeps it away from the cables a little bit as well. Still get it every now and then if you've got like a load of stuff in the bag. But anyway, so that's that. I've got a typical Oh, screen brightness has been reduced. Oh, must be running out of battery. So I've got the typical bar ends on there, which I quite like, and I've got a particularly high-rise set of handlebars. So the reasoning for these is, I should tell you what, I'm just going to do a wrap around of the bike because I'm spit damn near out of battery. Oh no, there we go, it's working actually now. Go back to zero zoom, there we go. So the reason for these is, originally I didn't want a flat bar, I wanted a raised bar, because I can put the phone down onto the GoPro mount, the quad lock mount, and the phone sits lower than the handlebars. So if I'm out and about, I need to flick the bike upside down, don't need to take anything off. Same goes with the GoPro mount here. GoPro mount is used for putting my lensing light on, and it avoids the light getting too high above the bars, so when I flip it upside down, nothing rubs. It does mean that I need to have a ridiculously steep stem, but it actually looks kind of cool. A few people commented on it and they're like, oh, that's quite smart actually, and it works really, really well. I mean, I've done jumps and everything on this thing and I've never had a problem with it, so they work really, really well. I have a set of cheap eBay levers on it, which were attached to 4-pot calipers. Bollocks. Attached to 4-pot calipers, and the caliper started to leak fluid. So I then tried, I thought, well, I'll give it a go, pairing them up to, can you not stay there, mate? Oh, come on now, don't be an awkward bugger. There we go. So I tried pairing them up to a set of Shimano MT420s, and it actually works really well because they're both mineral fluid and it's just essentially a plunger. And so I thought I'd give it a go. You know, one of the things a bike mechanic said to me years ago when I bought the bike shop was, if it works, it works. And this one, it works. So it works really well. And those brakes are then attached to just a 160 rotor, nothing too big, but it's a 2.3mm thick rotor, and so it's slightly wider than your standard rotor. And it does retain a little more heat, but it gives me a lot more bite feel to the brakes. And to be fair, this bike's not doing anything ridiculous, so it's not so bad. You do start to notice it on longer descents, like when I've done in Glen Ogle, and that's about 20 miles of just downhill. Not like massively downhill, but when you start picking up the pace and you've got some gear on your bike, and me, I'm a big guy, I'm about 120 kilos, so the 160 does start to get a little bit hot. Moving on from there, we have, what are we in gear in? We have 2 at the front by 8 at the back, or is it 10? Sorry, 10 at the back, and this one's 8's my other bike. Then you've got your dropper lever, there we go, that there. Nice BrandX gold stem, which is gold steerer spacers, and top cap, which is quite nice, quite good, quite snazzy. I have my absolutely knackered TRK saddle, which still works really well. The only problem with TRK is I like this, but if they're not glued very well, they start to come off at the front and start to come up. So it's got 1,000,001 cable ties on it just to keep it down, but it's a really comfortable saddle. I really enjoy it, so I don't really care if it looks like that. It does the job. From there, moving to, we'll go back around to the other side now to pick the bike back up again. I hope that derailleur didn't get damaged. Moving on from there, we have the 150mm dropper, which is a godsend. Recommend it on all bikepacking bikes. The only problem is then you can't have the frame, the seat bags, big long seat bags on the back of them, unless you have a mounting system, but then it adds a lot of leverage weight on the dropper and it starts to affect the seal inside, so I'm not really a fan of doing that. Which is okay, I have a rucksack, I use that. I have the ability to have a frame bag if I need to, not a big one. And then I have the front punny rack, so the bike's not going for weeks and weeks and weeks. And if I really need to do anything, I can then put my bob gear trailer on the back, which works with this perfectly fine. So if I was going to do like a week, I would just take the trailer with me anyway. So moving on from the dropper, we have twin bottle racks. The bottle rack at the bottom is just cable tied on, super thick cable ties. It holds tool rack, middle one holds a bottle, pretty obvious stuff. Tiny little frame bag, that's not the one I carry when I'm doing bike packing, but it's just if I'm going out and about, I can take a battery pack charger with me and stuff like that. I'll leave that there because I can't do it one-handed. Then we've got rear light, rear light and the inner tube just in case I have a puncture. I do have a GoPro mount in the bottom of there, though I barely ever use it. SKS mudguard, not a big fan of these flappy buggers. God, they're noisy. Mud hugger is much better, though I'm not a mud hugger dealer, so technically I shouldn't say that. And from there we have a Shimano WH-MT500, I think they call these wheels. 29er wheel, spaced of 135. Runs same front brake as same front disc and calipers on the front. MT420 with a 2.3mm thick 160mm rotor. It runs on the back tyre. I did originally have a 2.6 on the back as well, but it would rub the frame ever so slightly. So I then moved to a 2.4 double duty Schwalbe Hurricane. Technically not tubeless as well, not certified for it. Tried it, works great. It's been doing some crazy stuff and it's never moved, never blown off or anything like that. So it's a pretty strong tyre. The only problem is it is fairly slick, looking at it there. But as I said, it's a bike packing bike. I'm not doing anything too crazy. It's a little bit slidey on the off-road sections in Scotland, especially during the winter. But when you're going along the path, it really helps make it a little bit faster. From there, in the group set, we have some random, have no idea, Shimano, probably Deore, front derailleur. It's just stuff I have kicking around the shop. I got a bash guard, originally a white bash guard on it, but I didn't like the white. Plus it had a crack in the white bash guard and it was starting to widen up and stuff like that. I didn't like it, so this one I got just a cheap eBay one. Well, cheapish. It's all relative, I suppose. Runs, I think, off the top of my head, 26, 36 on the front. 26, 38, I can't quite remember. Maybe 26, 36, because it's not a particularly fast bike. Doesn't have a lot of top end. I actually would prefer a little bit more top end, but then I start running into gearing issues and stuff like that. And then on the back we have, it is a 10 speed, so I have the Shimano Deore 10 speed clutched, clutched there, and it runs a 4211 on the back. However, these are the M4100s, and this is now the third one I've bent since I've had it. So I'm in the process of doing a warranty claim on Shimano. Hopefully they give me the money back, and then I'll just go with Sunrace or shift to the 4211 8-speed, which is what's on my road bike. Slightly thicker chain rings, so I would be happy with that. Or I think micro shift to a 4211 and maybe Mish do one as well, if I remember rightly. So I might try doing a different brand, which would be nicer because then it saves me out to swap out. I did think about doing Link Glide, which is also Shimano Q's, and doing a 9-speed with a 4211 on the back, but that would mean changing the derailleur, the cassette, the chain and the shifter as well, which is quite a bit of an expense, so I kind of rather not. But there you go, this is my new bike packing rig. Sadly, the one that everybody seemed to like, which was the orange On One inbred, I just sold it. I've had it since 2017 and I was bored. Simple as that, not much else to it. I just wanted a different bike. The orange inbred was a great bike. It was a little on the steep side, it's 71 degrees, but it did have an oversized fork which kind of eked out to about 70. But I got a lot bored of the fork in this though. I think I mentioned at the start, is a Surly Krampus fork, so it takes a 29x3. It's one of the longest exotic crowns that you will get. I mean, there's probably more out there, but then you're probably spending quite a bit more. I got this from Eisen Distribution, which I'm a dealer for. So they give me it at trade price plus staff discount. So it cost me like 90 quid or something like that. So it's a steel fork. I originally had a carbon fork on this bike. One of the Ztto ones, Ztto BPC, which is Ztto bike pack and carbon. But I didn't like it. It flexed on the crown, and it would flex in and out and in and out. And I'm a big guy, and I was going down some steep stuff on it, and I swear to God, I thought that crown was going to snap. So I think it's more designed for, you know, your 70 kilo, 80 kilo riders. 120 kilo plus gear was too much for it. So I went with the steel. It does make the bike heavier though, and you feel the difference. Is that a neighbour? No, not a neighbour. You can feel the difference on the steel, but then the bike's super strong. I mean, I can batter this thing up and down, and there's nothing goes wrong with it. It's a lovely, well, apart from that goddamn cassette, there's nothing goes wrong with it. It's a lovely bike to ride. It's really comfortable. It's a little short with a medium, but as a bike packing bike, it means to set up right more rather than bent over and getting a sore back and stuff like that. So it's a really nice bike. But there you go. Sorry, I'm kind of waffling on, but that's my bike packing rig.